As Israel and the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah continue fighting, the Biden administration is throwing extra resources at trying to convince both sides to lay down their arms. Aside from the obvious and most important benefit a ceasefire would bring, that is the safety to the civilian populations, it would also give Joe Biden a political win in the last few months of his presidency. His special envoy saying he's back in Lebanon because there's a real chance to bring the fighting to an end, even though discussion around the terms of a ceasefire, including Israel reserving the right to launch strikes into Lebanese territory, may be somewhat precarious.
This is a moment of decision-making. I'm here in Beirut to facilitate that decision, but it's ultimately the decision of the parties to reach a conclusion to this conflict. It is now within our grasp.
Ahead of that meeting, Israel continued its strikes on Beirut, hitting what it says were Hezbollah targets in the city. A four-storey building in Beirut's southern suburbs destroyed at dawn, according to local media. Hours after, Hezbollah rockets hit deep into Israel, getting through the country's air defence systems and hitting Ramat Gan, near Tel Aviv. On the issue of Israel's other front in Gaza, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has told his country's parliament that the United States was opposed to Israeli ground operations in Gaza. That is something that we have heard of quite a bit over the last couple of months or so, but the timing of those comments may well be directed at the incoming administration, trying to convince Donald Trump and his team to give Israel more flexibility to handle the war in Gaza on its own terms. The crisis in Gaza is getting worse by the day, food shortages being felt right across the territory as strikes continue. That situation is being made worse by attacks on aid convoys trying to get supplies to the hardest hit areas. One convoy of 109 trucks was all but wiped out at the weekend by armed looters. Hamas insisting it's against the gangs operating in Gaza, saying its own members have been killed in such attacks. The negotiations between Israel and Hamas to try to bring about a ceasefire in Gaza remain stalled, with Qatar expressing frustration at the fact neither side, in its opinion, are willing to engage in those negotiations in good faith. But the Qatari government has said and has denied that Hamas's office in its capital, Doha, has been formally closed, simply saying there are no Hamas officials there at the moment because those talks are suspended.